Okay, so welcome. This is the first session. What I would ideally like to think is that every life coach that's out there would offer you a free consultation before you start any program. And the idea is that we discuss your issues, work out what your priorities are, and then really ensure that A, coaching is the right thing for you, but B, that you understand what the process is going to involve, and feel that it's actually going to support you in whatever needs that you've got. If you are clinically depressed, then coaching might not be the right step for you. So when I say clinically depressed, I mean if you've had 6 weeks plus of an exceptionally low mood, and that it's really debilitating. So we're not talking about feeling low. We often say, oh, I feel a bit depressed. We're not talking about a low mood. We're talking about where that the depression has overtaken your life and you're unable to function. Now, in those instances, I would suggest that perhaps life coaching isn't the first step for you, but a visit to your GP, maybe some counselling, maybe even some antidepressants. People are often a bit wary about antidepressants, but the idea is that they are a short-term measure. The plan with any of those kind of things is that you get to a point that you can then manage. So a good antidepressant will lift your mood, so you no longer feel like you're in the depths of despair, but you're actually able to emotionally function and address your issues. And that's the idea, that you then are in a better state mentally to tackle whatever the issues are, to then eradicate the repeat of the depression. But I would never say to people don't take antidepressants, because they are, like all these things, really useful tools. So once you've had your consultation, the idea is that you then prioritise what your needs, your initial needs are. And this is what will bring me to the first tool, which is the Wheel of Life. And the idea of the Wheel of Life is that we cover all those aspects. So what I shall do is share my screen so you can see what I'm referring to. These documents also will be available to you as well on my YouTube channel. So let's get this slightly larger. Firstly, I'll show you the whole thing. So this is essentially the Wheel of Life. And what we're essentially focusing on is measuring your levels of satisfaction. So this is not about what you perceive you should be doing from an external point of view. This is about how you feel about the aspects of your life. So I would be covering this a lot as well in the free consultation, because what is important, especially with coaching, is that we don't miss anything. So as much as many of my clients would come to me with depression, low mood, issues with their career, their job, their family, their spouse, invariably it's never just one thing. There's usually a combination of factors that combine together to make the client feel in the state that they are in. And what often happens is there's a misalignment of blame. So I might have a client that will say, I hate my job's driving me insane, I need to change my job. And then when you drill down, their unhappiness at work stems from the fact they're unhappy at home, and they're taking their home life into work, and it's not enabling them to function as well as they used to. So it's trying to make sure that we're very clear about what we're trying to tackle. So as you can see, the 8 areas there are quite clearly divided. I'm going to explain which area is what. And as I said, this is satisfaction. You'll be quite content with that. So it's not as simplistic as, again, what society might perceive as right or wrong. It's how you feel. So how you feel about these areas. So physical environment, health, hopefully fairly self-explanatory. Career, obviously that's your job role. Personal development, what you do to invest in yourself. If you've gone to a coach, if you sought counselling, you're doing something. So, you're developing yourself in some shape or form. You might be taking art classes because you've heard that that's quite cathartic. So anything that you might be doing in the way of developing yourself as a person, you have to obviously register here. Relationships, now that's everything. So that could be your work colleagues, your family, your spouses, your siblings, that kind of thing. Sorry, not your spouses, because that comes in the romance department. So in the romance department, it's your intimate relationships. In the relationships, it's everything else. Money, again, hopefully self-explanatory, what your satisfaction level is with what your income is. So again, you don't have to be rich, you just have to measure how satisfied you are. And then we've got fun and recreation. And that is what you do with your leisure time, how you spend your time with family, friends, hobbies, that kind of thing. And then what we will do, and I'll show you an example of that, is we will indicate all the different areas that you have marked. And the aim is to have a smoother wheel as possible. So it's not about getting it all tens, but something that actually, if you imagine it being on a bicycle, that would give you a reasonably smooth ride. Anything that's low versus very high suggests some kind of imbalance, and that's what we're trying to eradicate. So you might be investing a lot of money in your fun and recreation, so they might be really high, but as a result, your health and your career is suffering. So the idea is that we end up with some kind of balance. So I will stop sharing that one, and I'll get you what it should look like when it's completed. So here is one that's been completed. So as you can see, it's all over the place. Money is quite reasonable, fun and recreation a little bit low, and then you've got general relationships, very good. So this person had really good relationships at work and with their family, but their romantic life was really, really poor. And their health was quite good, but their career wasn't. So as you can see, there's clearly some room for improvement here. So what we would then be doing is I would be discussing with the client, what is it about their romantic life, their intimate relationships that weren't working. They may indeed have come to me with that as one of the issues. Or they may have come to me with their career and the fact that they were spending a lot of time trying to get their career up and running, that they hadn't got any time for intimate relationships. So we start to unpick all the different pieces with the ideas, those are the areas that we will work on. So what you will do is just that. You'd have to sit down and be really honest. You might want to talk it through with a friend. You might want to do it in pairs if you've both got concerns, and work through being really honest about what you're happy with, what you're not happy with, and what you think is potentially the cause. Sometimes, in most cases of my clients, they do know, but I have to draw it out of them because the low mood or the irritability or the anxiety or the lack of confidence brings up barriers that stops them either admitting what the problems are or even recognizing that they have them. So that will be the first stage, is to work out what areas of your life that are making you unhappy and what you think you want to change. So that's the Wheel of Life. That's always a really good first tool because it gives you that overarching view of what's going on. And as we said, you just got to find out what the cause of those unhappy, dissatisfied areas are, and they then become your priorities. So next tool is, once you work out the priorities, you can start looking at an action plan. So obviously go to that section and have a look at that. But also the goal sheet's really important. So look up that section as well.